every work eventually comes to a stop. Welcome to the Abyss Garden, a secluded land where we create endless pathways, unique cards made to inspire your stories, and to help you design unique artworks. This week, we lost ourselves into the story of a new character, the Carver, and its tales of incoming events. Today, we are going to have a tiny recap and see which new adventures we unraveled. It began with the introduction to a new character, the Carver. The first scene was meant to answer an old question that stemmed from a doodle made in the end of May. In this old scene, we discovered an array of carved tablets depicting events that occurred and were going to occur in the garden. They had slowly sunk at the bottom of the sea and were left to rot there. It all quite naturally led us to the person who made these carvings, a hollow craftsman living high up in a forest of hanging seas. Following up, we then got some more hints as per the reasons behind its actions. We saw it taking advices from secluded creatures hidden within the seeds themselves, a group of minuscule characters led by a charismatic prophet. Along these different scenes, we kept on seeing a faraway beast slithering around in the background. With the third doodle, we finally came in direct contact with it and witnessed its purpose firsthand. We saw it taking good care of the hanging seeds and ensuring their safety. It seemed that this character had been more of a peaceful sentinel, a guardian of the forest. In the next of our creations, we then went back to the Carver and depicted it above a gigantic cauldron, a piece of technology carved with mysterious symbols alluding to its purpose. The Carver seemed ready to let its last premonitional artwork fall into the boiling darkness. One more doodle, and we find ourselves back down in the garden. We follow the fall of the carved seed and meet up with another never-seen-before character, the Fate's Archivist. It seems to be a half-mechanical creature, which task has been to keep track of all the future demise of the garden's inhabitants. Below it spread our sea, our ocean, into which each and every carved seed seems to fall. And that's where our last scene led us. We witnessed here the array of fates aggregated upon one another, their weight slowly crushing the seabed below them. Represented by a humongous beast, this bottom of the ocean seems to have fallen prey to the immense sadness brought by the foretold demise of all these gardens' inhabitants. We see its tears, its face crushed by its emotional weight. And so, as it seems, this third tale ended up becoming quite different from our two previous ones. Rather than following the adventures of one character, we came to uncover the mundane life of the Carver. But we also got to meet a whole array of new characters, living among the hanging forest and below. We discovered some really peaceful lands, but also the remains of intriguing structures, technologies built by unknown creatures, which now seem long gone. In the end, I'm really happy with the way this tiny tale has unraveled itself. It truly felt like each pathway we drew led us to a new interesting piece of this puzzle. We came to answer a lot of questions I had about these carved seeds, but we also saw emerge a lot of new questions. Plenty of future paths to follow. And that's really what I like with this exercise. I never know where we're going to go, what we will discover hidden in the garden, but whatever we find, it always leads us to ever more questions. This notion is something that truly seems to permeate each of our journeys. I feel like in order to create a story, there is a spectrum of different ways one could handle this task. On one edge of the spectrum is the idea of meticulously crafting every tiny piece of a story, to decide on what events will occur, when they will, and how things will unfold. But on the other edge is a process entirely led by randomness, where you stay the initial setup and let random signs guide you through the story. I personally feel a great attraction towards the latter. Creating a world near the end of the spectrum, using randomness as a tool for exploration, it somehow feels like you're the one traveling these lands. You never know what will come, what you will find when following a new trail. And this often leads to a myriad of surprises, and ultimately to a world that feels alive, full of mysteries and unknown. Using this method, I often find myself having to choose between countless pathways to follow, countless questions to answer. And the further we travel, the more I realize how very little I know about this place. But anyhow, if you end up finding inspiration from one of the new cars we've created, I'd love to hear about it. Also, if you end up creating some artworks from one of our pathways, contact me. I'd probably be happy to send you some physical ones as a gift. In the meantime, I wish you a very nice day, and I'll see you next week for some Mimikyu Doodles, where I try to learn from someone else's creations.